So, this is my reaction to SummerSlam video. Oh. Well, I will say this. I'm gonna back up here. The matches were good. There's no denying that. I think, if I had to choose a match I'd like the least based on, just skill-wise and just the basic overall flow of the match, I would say it was the mixed tag match, the second to the last match of the night, Ziggler and Caitlyn versus Langston and Lee. I've always felt that way about mixed tag matches. I really don't think they're the same as what they were doing years ago. I mean, but what can you do? And really quick, I'm just going to touch down on this. Again, I'm coming into this only as just a casual fan. I'm not going to any kind of Bleacher Report websites. I'm not looking for any kind of leaks or scoops from anybody. I'm just going into this as just someone who watches the house shows during the week and the pay-per-views once a month. Now, with that being said, I was not happy at all with SummerSlam. Is it bad? No. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying I as a fan, I was not happy. But you can't please everyone. So starting off the match, or the whole thing, the kickoff show, which was funny because the kickoff show started a half an hour earlier than normal, but they still didn't do the RVD Ambrose match, I think, until about quarter of 8. If you're watching in on the East Coast. But yeah, starting with that match, RVD wins via disqualification. I had RVD winning, but I had him winning the title too. Why I'm upset with that? Because the whole Shield thing is getting old. It's getting old, it's getting stale, it's not doing anything. They didn't even book a tag team match. I at least thought, in my last video, I thought at least they would have announced it on SmackDown. Or at least during the pre-show, at least announce it then, just for no reason. They'll make it like another kickoff match. I figure, why not? I mean, if they're gonna put a stipulation on the Best versus the Beast match during the kickoff show, I figure, why not just put in another match? But I'll get to the Lesnar Punk match. So, yeah. The Shield to me, it feels like they're getting stale. It's getting old. The finish by DQ is getting way overdone. They need to do something quick. They need to split them up soon before the winner. Like I call them the holiday pay-per-views, like the Rumble and Elimination Chamber and all that stuff. And then by the time WrestleMania comes, you have more options. The Ring of Fire match, well, I liked the idea of it. I thought it was cool how every time someone tried to enter the ring, or how every time someone got slammed on the mat, the flames came up. I thought it was really, really cool. The match itself was very underwhelming. I think a lot of it too is the fact that this was Bray Wyatt's first time in a professional ring as the character he is now. It was funny too because I'm thinking about that. I'm like, be careful because he has done it. He has been in the professional ring before, and I think Kane's getting older. I think he's having some issues with his shoulder because I've noticed he's not getting a lot of height on the choke slam anymore. But that could be anything. Maybe he's just getting old and he can't pick the people up anymore. And Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt, he's not a small guy by any means. So yeah, I mean, after the match where he got jumped and then the steel chair, they brought him down on his head and they walked him out. I thought that was pretty neat. If they just stick with that for a while, I think that'd be a good thing. It'd be really neat to see the Wyatt family mix it up with the Shield for a while. I think that would be a good way to split them up. But anyway, the next matches I'm going to do, they're not even in any kind of order. I was very happy that Natalya won against Brie Bella. The Raw before, she had a very, very upsetting match. It's just like nothing she was doing was flowing at all. It looked like she was very stiff in the ring, and a lot of that is, and it isn't her fault. Like, she's had really good training, but they don't use her. They only use Lee and Caitlyn. They only use those two divas, and then every now and again they'll put in the Funkadactyls in a match, or maybe the Bellas will be in there, or they'll just throw in a jobber like Oksana. But the Natalya match was a very, very good match, done very, very well. I liked how the Bella Twins and Ava Marie came down. They all looked like pinup girls. I thought that was really cool. But it was a good match. It was refreshing to see something a little bit different. Let's see. I already talked about the mixed tag match. I could care less because it's not going anywhere. But I said, you know what? The only person out of that whole thing I like in the business is Dolph Ziggler, and that's why he wins. What they're doing with Langston, I don't know. Either set him up in a feud with a big name, or they need to send him down to the Little League or whatever. Which one do I want to talk about next? We'll talk about Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. Now, I wanted Rhodes to win, but I thought that Sandow would have won dirty. Like, he would have pulled him up in the small cradle, and he would have held onto the ropes to have leverage, and he would have won. But no, Cody Rhodes won, and he's had a very good, and I do mean very good, string of really strong matches. Cody Rhodes has amazing talent, but the biggest problem is that they keep pushing him in another direction, and I know a lot of it too is because of the past success he's had, but you know what, it's got to lead to somewhere. And Sandow, I will say this, he's got the build, he's a big guy, you know, he's got great training. Hopefully, I'm hoping that he cashes in soon and it doesn't get drawn out. Like, I thought for sure after the Del Rio match he was going to come out. I mean, I was telling myself, oh, it would be awesome if he just came out and won. So we'll go into that match, the Christian versus Del Rio match. I wanted Christian to win hands down. I'm sick of Del Rio holding gold. He's a very boring wrestler to watch, in my opinion. He has moments where he's entertaining, but for the most part, he's very boring. He looks like he has a lot of lead in his feet, and it looks like unless he's doing like his special little flash kicks or his little enziguris, he's not really. He doesn't really look like he's moving around a lot free. It looks like he's very constricted. And any of you who were watching who noticed, he had his nose was busted up and he had a black eye previous to the whole match. And I was watching with my brother and my wife, and we're looking at it and we're like, what did he do? And I think one of us chimed in. I was like, I wonder if Ricardo Rodriguez jumped in backstage before the match. But apparently there was a bar fight and he was running his mouth. Whatever. But yeah, I was not happy at all to see they have Christian lose, and it's really upsetting that they have Christian come back a month before Money in the Bank. And I knew that they weren't going to have him win the All-Stars match. I mean, let's be honest. You know, he doesn't have a big enough arsenal to hold on to a title that big. At least by entertainment standards, at least. You know, if you have like a 6 or 7 move set, I mean, after a while your whole routine's going to get boring. Much the reason why a lot of people don't like Kevin Nash. But anyway, I digress. I thought for sure he was going to win. There were times in that match I legitimately thought he was going to win, and then he hits the spear with his bad shoulder, and then Ricardo rolls within like 5 seconds to the side and puts him in the cross arm breaker, and Christian taps, and it made me upset as a fan because it's, you know, again, coming in as a fan, I don't know what they're planning with him. I don't know what the big scheme of things are, but honestly, it feels like that the WWE is basically trying to tell a joke that only they think is funny. So they have Christian lose the match, which is stupid because they build him up. They give him amazing matches. They have him win the triple threat #1 contenders match so he can actually go to SummerSlam. He's had the last 2 months he's had outstanding matches. He looks very strong in the ring. I mean, obviously he's getting older and it shows. But you know what? For a guy that old who's been doing it for that long and he still can move around like that, I mean, that's a lot for someone like him. I dare anyone to jump from the apron over the top rope, land an additional several feet down on the floor without shattering your ankle or popping out your knee, you know. But that's just that. So, I don't know. I really think they need to do something soon. I mean, because it's getting really, really old. But yeah, moving on. We'll do the Best versus the Beast match. I was not happy at all that Punk lost for a couple reasons. First reason, Brock, they're using him more on the pay-per-views than anything else. They're using him as a bully, as an enforcer. So for him to win, to me, it justifies it on that level where he's a force to be reckoned with, but at the same time, it's like when you have someone like Punk who wrestles nearly every week, that's extremely upsetting. Second reason, I think it brings the whole CM Punk storyline to a screeching halt. They have him lose to The Rock, they have him lose to Cena, and then they have him lose to The Undertaker. He comes back, he beats Y2J, he competes in Money in the Bank and loses, and then a month later, he's at SummerSlam and he loses to Brock. So, I don't know, maybe they have something else in store for him. I have no idea. It'd be cool to see him get another title run with someone else, or maybe they're going to draw out this whole Paul Heyman thing out. Who knows? But I will say this, that easily had to have been the most powerful and just most attention-sought match I had seen in a long time. Like, you could see that the people there, they were nuts. That whole arena was crazy for Punk. People were out of their seats cheering and screaming, and everyone where we were watching, we were all screaming and yelling, and it was an amazing match. Those two, they basically took each other to the limit. They told an amazing story in the ring, and you know, and Brock won. You know, we'll give credit where credit's due. Brock's not a pushover. He's a very big guy. He's a very menacing person. Just looking at him alone, you know he's a person you do not want to mess with. But yeah, so we get to the main event of the night: Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk. Daniel Bryan comes out first. Everyone's loving it. Cena had not even gotten to the stage. His music hadn't even come on, and the crowd is booing him. It's because they're done with him. They don't want Cena anymore. They want something different. They want another champion who will actually hold the title with a little bit of dignity, and who isn't a cardboard cutout poster boy Captain America-esque person. But yeah, anyway, get into the match. They had a good match. They did. They had a very good match. Part of me wants to say it was as good as the Lesnar Punk match, but I don't think it was that good. It wasn't that intense, but it was still very good. A lot of it was due to the fact that the Punk Lesnar match was a no DQ match. So the match is going on, and I was very surprised to see how well Daniel Bryan can hold his own, and Cena just kind of looked like a prick for most of the match. Like, there were times where he just didn't want to get involved in anything, and then finally, as the match goes on, a lot of good stuff happens. Cena hits him with the AA, Bryan kicks out, Bryan gets him in the yes lock, I think twice, and he puts him in Cena's submission finisher. A lot of finishers. Bryan was definitely on fire, and then they ended up finishing it out in a really weird way. All of a sudden, it's like they're leaning on each other to get up, and Cena goes down a few moments later, and then Bryan just comes rushing out of the corner and just hits him with a flying knee in the face, and he gets the 3 count. And I'm like, okay. Not that I was upset that Bryan won. I wanted him to win. I wanted D-Bry to win, but I was more shocked at how they had him win, because obviously they're not going to have Cena tap out at a pay-per-view while the title's on line. They're not going to do it. and Bryan had already hit the headbutt, so I figured they were gonna hit like some kind of fast finisher to count it out. And then all of a sudden, and the confetti comes down, and when he got the 3 count, my jaw had dropped. I'm like, they actually did it. They're not gonna have the title transfer over, because my predictions for the night were as follows: Bryan wins, end the show. Cena wins, end the show. Bryan wins, Randy Orton comes out, cashes in, fails. Cena wins, Randy Orton comes out, cashes in, succeeds. And then Triple H distracts him while Randy Orton's walking away. He hits the pedigree on Daniel Bryan. Randy Orton comes in, cashes in. Oh, Triple H is a heel, whatever. I've been watching wrestling since the late 90s, and I'm used to seeing Triple H as a heel. He works as a heel. He works very well as a heel. If you don't understand, watch the feud he had with Goldberg 10 years ago. You'll understand. Or even before that, like the beginnings to DX, or even when he was just Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But honestly, see, that's the whole thing with me. The people wanted Bryan to win because they didn't want anyone else to win. There's still a fixation on Randy Orton because the fans have given up on Cena. Because Cena's not, it doesn't really feel like he's fighting for the fans. It feels like he's fighting for the right to have fans, because they have the right to appreciate who they want to. Where do they boo or where do they cheer? And I'm like, then what's the point of putting on a show for them if you're basically doing it for the recognition that you're there? It seems like it's a very self-fulfilling prophecy on his part. So, and then they have Daniel within 5 minutes drop it to Randy Orton, who I'm not a fan of, not anymore at least. When he did like his whole Legend Killer thing and how he was all crazy and Evolution, I love Randy Orton then. He was fantastic. Now, you can look at the guy, his facial expression, it looks like he doesn't care at all what he's doing. I don't know why they're going with him again. How many times do you have to put the title on Randy Orton in order to make yourself feel good? Did you not hear the fans? They were loving D-Bry. They want him to be the champion. They want the underdog to win, because they're sick and tired of people who like The Rock, who wins it for no freaking reason whatsoever, just so he can show up at another pay-per-view 2-3 months later just to lose it to Cena. They're sick and tired of Cena winning it, who wins it all the time. His moveset is so stale and boring. The only time it's ever any good is if it's some kind of specialty match where he's forced to do things in a different way. And no, then they give it to Randy Orton, he's so much like Cena, it's sad. And I know I'm getting upset here, but that's the whole thing. It's the Randy Orton matches are so predictable. He'll literally just be bouncing people off the ropes the whole time, or he'll have him in like his ridiculous little jaw submission holds. He'll get him in the corner where he'll be hitting him like this, and we're supposed to believe it. And yeah, he's really hurting him. No. And then he hits him with that ridiculous DDT off the top turnbuckle, and then he's like, "Oh, cheer me on! I'm gonna hit my RKO/Diamond Cutter." No, screw you, Randy Orton. You didn't need a title a 10th time. And I don't know what he was doing backstage in order to blow smoke up everyone else's behinds and tell them, this is what I want to stay here. He was looking bored out of his mind prior to that. He wasn't doing anything prior to that. If I remember correctly, he had a match with Big Show at Extreme Rules, and he won. And then at Payback, I think he had a match with Daniel Bryan for the tag titles, and they both lost. And then the following month at Money in the Bank, they had him win the contract. People like him because he's not John Cena, but really? 10 times. But yeah, I'm going off on a tangent here. It was annoying. As a fan, I'm not expecting everyone. I'm really not. So please don't get that opinion from me at all. It's just that certain people who really deserve the chance are not getting it. And to have Randy Orton cash in now, and now they're doing this ridiculous thing with the Triple H heel turn and whatever. According to someone who was telling me this, they said it's supposed to set up a McMahon Triple H match at WrestleMania 30. because that's what we need. Another McMahon match. The guy looks like he's about one faint wind away from turning into dust. But I don't know what they're doing. They're telling a story that they only are amused by, and I'm not amused by it anymore. So, would I say it was better than Money in the Bank? I'd say it's about even, considering the fact that Money in the Bank had those Money in the Bank matches, whereas SummerSlam's matches were just based off the characters alone. So, how they booked it, I'd say that was much better than Money in the Bank. The results, I'd say it was worse. So, SummerSlam, of course, it went well. Not happy with the end result. I'm probably not going to be too involved in what's going on with wrestling for a little while, because football season is going to be starting up soon. And as much as I love wrestling, I love football even more, only because it's not year-round. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do next with Daniel Bryan. I really think he deserves a title shot. But yeah, thank you for listening to my gripes. And if you feel like you have something else to add, or if you have an opinion on it, feel free to comment below. And just tell me what's on your mind. So yeah, all of you enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I will see you all later.